So, I'm here with Jimmy Din. He's the filmmaker behind his nominated film, You Have a Nice Flight, in Milan at Milan Film Festival. And John, who's a producer, co-producer on this film as well.
Correct.
Congratulations to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, John, I understand, John Belcher, you're going to give us a synopsis of the film?
Yeah, it's about a Vietnamese immigrant who has to get to Vietnam because he has a twin brother who needs a kidney transplant. And he has to get there in 24 hours because his brother's very sick. And so it's about all of the trials and tribulations that Jimmy, who's a Vietnamese American who doesn't speak great English, goes through at the airport with security and the protocols at the airport and how they can get you into big trouble. And it turns into one big comedy, and but in the process, there's a stewardess who helps him through this, and they end up falling in love. And so it's a story about going from a little bit of a goat to a hero, and how that happens and how they falls in love.
We would probably refer to it in the UK. I've obviously seen the film as a farce, and that's a nice thing to say. Although, funnily enough, although I know it's obviously been, you over-exaggerate some things. We've all experienced things at airports which we can all sort of relate to in this film, so it's very, very funny. Jimmy, what a story. What a backstory. How on earth did you arrive at this? I know your story, but for the benefit of the viewers, it's a very, very interesting backstory.
The story that, because based on the real story that happened to me.
Yeah.
So I collect these stories from the airport. And I think like sometimes when you get the trouble in English, if you get trouble at the restaurant, it's okay, but the trouble at the airport, you get big trouble.
Yes.
Because it become look like death and life situation. And the reason I make the movie because I've been acting in Hollywood for a few years, and I go many auditions. So with audition, they didn't have the writer, they didn't have the enough character for my character to be on the TV show and the movie very much. And if I have only 2 or 3 auditions a year, and then if I have audition, they are all about a stereotype for Asian. They don't have about broken English, but they have a good heart guy. So that's why I create a character named Dang Hang, that means Vietnamese hero, meaning in Vietnam, into the movie with the guy who is very broken English, but he have a good heart, and that's why I make the movie for that character too.
I'm particularly interested in the film, but the impression you probably got, which is true. What really interests me is your arrival in the US. You kind of personify the American dream to me, where you've come in, if you don't mind me saying, into the country with nothing, and your family and yourself, your brother, you struggled, and yet you've had this incredible rise, which has not been easy. So I'm sure it's been very, very difficult. But can you just tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure this will inspire others.
Yeah. So we came to USA in 1992.
Yeah.
And we came there with empty hand. We have nothing, no money, English not good. So we start to work very hard to make our life, and then we live in anyway. If you work hard, you can make life better than other country, So we've been there and we work very hard, and we moved to California, and we get to create the eyelash extension, my brother, and then we get the job, and we make better life by successful with the business through eyelash extensions in Beverly Hills. And after that, I have my client who do the acting class and everything, so that's why I jump from the eyelash extension, work with many celebrity in Beverly Hills, jump from there and go to make the movie while I take acting class.
Thank you, and I should point out that, again, I know quite a bit of your backstory. Very interesting how this is one part of an amazing story. Or just to go back to the film, that you had employed a director, but the vision that he had and the vision that you had were at odds. And I think it'd be interesting to point out why you decided to grab the project wholeheartedly and take over the project, because I think the experience you had with this director wasn't a particularly good experience. And could you just explain how that all came about and why you decided to move this project forward?
Yeah. So after I wrote the script in 2012,
Yeah.
and then we started to film 2014. However, we have big trouble with the, sometimes it's not professional to say everything about bad thing on other people.
Well,
but
you just got to be honest. You've got to be honest, haven't you? Yeah, you know.
And so we hired the producer, and the moment like 2 days before we film, they increased the location we film from 25,000 to become 52,000 for only 2-day film. So we have to thinking about if we postpone, I lose the money too. If I delay the movie, I have to pay $15,000 a day for all the crew. So finally, I postponed the movie, and we had trouble with director because he put so many hit actors and actor from his movie into my movie. And after that, we postponed. We tried to hire him back, but he keep talking bad about me. I broken English, and micromanagement. Of course, I have to see what's going on because I pay them money. I have to know what's going on. I cannot because the first time I met them, that's why they take advantage from me, from the guy who the producer from before. He took $12,000, but we didn't do anything. So that's why I have to see, you have to pay the money, you have to see merchandise. Even you have a day online, blind day, you have to see that picture of the people, even day online, you have to see it too. So finally, we postponed and I have to film it again in 2015. I tried to ask the people about help me to do for looking for director and everything. But we didn't get any director they want. With some people we want, they rejected us. And some people we interview them, we don't want them. So finally, from my client, she get some of the client the producer from she get the Oscar from the producer and some director from Oscar director. She told me that, Jimmy, the way you told me, you really know more than director know. So why don't you direct the movie? And I said, no, I cannot do it. I said, you can do like Tyler Perry. You can go up there and you film, and then you can see back. If you look good, you ask the people assistant look good. You say, let it go, and you film another scene. So okay, but I don't want to be Perry because Tyler Perry because a lot of job to do. But people told me how to learn the way he did. So I learned a little bit like, the scene is good, let it go. You don't have to be take 3, take 5, take 5.
Just do it, and if it's good, move on.
Yeah, we move on.
Yeah.
Because in Hollywood they say money and timing. That means like you timing and money very important. Like if you have that budget, you film like 15 days. If you have more budget, you film 20 days. So that your budget is limited. So you film 15 days. You cannot move another day because money. And then sometimes timing look like the day you have 12 hours, you cannot do more than 12 hours because of SAG, or 10 hours, you have to pay double. So that's why I think if they're good, we let them go. And sometimes it's very much like they film for all the characters, take time, take 2, take 3, but my character, the only one. But luckily it's good, because we don't have the time. So look like I'm not saying sacrifice, but many actors, they came, and if they're good, you say, okay, that's it. And they unhappy. You have to get them, okay, let's take 2 to be safe. So make them happy. Even you think it's good for the first take, but you have to do second take.
Oh, so you'll just to placate them, you'll do a second take, but really the first one was excellent.
Yeah, it's good done. But with me, it's my shot. If they close up on me, so many scenes that they take only one shot on me. That's it.
So let me take you back to the night before you're about to film. So the night before, you're lying in bed, or you're pacing around the room, I don't know.
Yeah.
And are you thinking, excuse my language, shit?
Yeah.
Or just I'm trying to get are you quite cool and calm about it? Or is the heart racing? How you think? Because suddenly this is all coming together, and tomorrow's the big day. Everyone's arriving on set. Everyone's going to be there. You've got the actors, the crew. But let's be honest, you're the man. You're the man that's calling the shots. You've done the writing. You're now directing. You're acting your own film. How on earth how can you deal with this?
Oh, the one of 2015, right?
Yeah, could I?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, the day before we're going to shoot, actually Jimmy picked me up at the LAX airport, and we're driving in, and we get a phone call, and our lead actress is backed out.
Yeah.
That was panic attack time. And so we're in the car calling agents and trying to find a replacement. And fortunately, one very nice agent, Shelly Pena, had someone who fit the bill perfectly. We literally interviewed her at 8 p.m. that night, signed her to a contract, and gave her the script, and she showed up at 6 a.m. the next morning and did it perfectly, Shelly Dennis. And we were so lucky that we just, sometimes things happen for a reason, and that was one of those times.
So do you think, I mean, that was a terrible, stressful time, but I suppose the flip side of that is you were concentrating so much on getting this done, by the time you signed it, hang on, we've got to start shooting. So I guess it must have been terrible, but also it's taken away that time that you'd be stressing over, presumably, what you're going to do the next day, because all of a sudden, if you don't mind me saying, it's the next day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to get up and shoot the film, haven't you?
Yeah.
So you're there, you're on set, everything's happening. Is it calm? Is it relaxed?
The set wasn't ready.
The set's ready. We have to wait for 4 hours. It's 4 hours.
So we right off the bat, we had a 4-hour delay.
Yeah, and we have the people help us, but they could go check it out, but they say okay, but finally go up there, they didn't finish yet, so we just go up there and we let all the people from the extra, like the background talent,
Yeah.
they wait and they so unhappy because 4 hours, 5 hours they didn't go. The people in the background, they always want to be there to be on the set so they can see them on the movie. And then there's so many things going on, but we have to live with it, and we have to move on, move forward, whatever they happen. And I am sometimes I a little bit I talk a lot. Sometimes I'm upset.
No, you don't, surely.
Yeah. Sometimes I look at my father, I talk a lot, I yell, but I don't know why on the set I'm very quiet. I talk very
Really?
fast. I don't know.
So it was just like...
I don't know why.
Wow.
Because I think the only thing that make me survive and make it happen, it is my party. I don't want to screw up my party. When screw up look like you upset, you yell everybody, you mess up anything, you upset, you just say something impulsively to make people unhappy. Or if they make mistake, it's okay. We don't have to yell them. But sometimes I hear many director people on the set, they very upset, they swear a lot, very upset.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I just quietly, and I'm thinking, and then I think I don't upset. I just sometimes when they set up the light, it took so much long time. So we have people stand up there, and if you laugh, they set slow. But if you have to stay there and watch them.
Right.
So they can do quicker. Otherwise, they just they get smoke and do something, So that's why you don't have to yell them. You just stay with them there, so they know that you were there, and they have to continue work instead of they take time to break. You know what I mean? So that's how you can survive.
Yeah.
And then sometimes you just direct them by talk to them, but no actual work. Precise and quick and short, and tell them what you want to do, and that's it. You don't have to tell them anything and yell and upset about their mistake. Of course, every day have the mistake, but usually I yell a lot when we make the mistake.
I think the problem, I believe, this is just my opinion, that whatever you do in life, if you're working with people and you shout at them or you're obstinate or difficult to deal with, that's going to reflect on them, and I think that means you're going to get less out of them than more. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
If you can be cool and relaxed, and and I think that will resonate, and I think that's just me. I think in any work environment. So you said something very interesting to me, or you might have put it in writing. I can't remember when we spoke, or it was in the magazine. With all these roles, there's a lot to take on, and I think I'm right in saying that it's a little bit too much to do all this.
Yeah.
I'm right. And what would you not want to do, and what would you rather do?
It's not to do it. I think that in the future, if I be the lead of the character, maybe I'm not directed, or maybe I directed, but I have the small role in the movie, and I look like the lead of the scene. And also, they have many things to do, like maybe editor. I'm not do editor or music composer. I'm not doing that next time. I let somebody do. But I did first movie, so I want to try to from A to Z. The reason I jump it in because when they say block, that means after people edit your movie and the music is done, the sound is done, the color is done, and they say block. And if you change the scene and everything, you can do this because you have to send for the guy who change the editor change the scene, and then change to the color and change to the sound, and then after that you have the music have to be changed. So these guys have to be took you go around like you can 2 seconds for the scene that you change. You have to send 4 people.
Of course you do, yeah.
And then that means they say they block them in you, but I want to change because the story have to be more better. So if you look at the editor from about a years ago, from the version what we have right now, it's totally different. That you can make another level, because that make the story it more deeper, emotional. That's why people of my talent watch my movie last time from Film Festival in Santa Monica, and they said, Jimmy, I thought like it's not emotional like that because we read the script. You watch the movie, film it, but now they turn out like, like when you edit them, you change of the story a little bit different kind of the story, like the same story, but you move on deeper.
Yeah.
So totally different from between like the script, and when you film, you change the story a little, and then you edit them, it's totally different, and the music coming up too, and to make them like, you make like what you call John. The ear, the pig ear to become.
Oh, make a silk purse out of a sow's
Oh
ear.
yeah, we say silk purse
But
from
it's
sow's
not
ear.
like that, but some kind like that. Like you change from like people like they don't.
I think some of the actors were surprised when they saw the film because they thought it was going to be just totally a comedy, but it's actually
It's
a
not.
heartfelt.
Yeah, it's not quite, is it?
It's more of a heartfelt movie. There's some comedy in there. Obviously, but it's a heartfelt story about the struggle that the main character Dong Hung has in the film.
And and as I said, I'm sure. I know you make some of this embellished, of course, but let's be honest. The kernel of truth in this film is the main thing, and these incidents you've experienced, I'm quite sure. And although I've not experienced anything like it, I've had moments I've been at airports and it's just been painful because we all go through painful moments, don't we? I lost my passport going back to the UK a couple of years ago, left it on the plane, or I can't remember what happened now, and it was painful. So you kind of understand where things can go wrong. I'm quite interested actually, John. I know you're both effectively new to filmmaking, but of course you started to learn the craft and took acting lessons, became more involved in the filmmaking side and wanted to make film. But for you, John, it was completely new, I think, wasn't it? And it'd be quite interesting to know what you thought it would be like to actually how it was as a complete newbie.
As a complete newbie, I never in a million years thought I'd be making a film, first off, but Jimmy kind of gradually, slowly pulled me into it, and
bludgeoned you.
In my real job, I'm a professor at the University of Minnesota, and I do research, medical research, and so on sickle cell disease, and so it's totally.
There is no correlation
There's
whatsoever.
no correlation at
No.
all. The only skills that really came in handy, I think, were managing people and trying to organize, and that's a lot of what a producer does is organize and get people. Herding cats, I like to say, getting everybody moving in the same direction.
Spinning plates, those were something. Yeah.
So I think those were the skills that were really helpful to put it all together, because neither one of us had really done even Jimmy had never done the whole process from A to Z, and so everything was learn as you go, ask questions, don't be afraid to admit you don't know what you don't know, and fortunately we had a lot of experienced people on set who knew what they were doing. They were experienced, and so that was the key, was hiring people, and I think that's a lot what a producer does, is hire the right people, and I think we did a good job of that.
And did you have an assistant director on this? And if you did, well, that's the question. Did you have an assistant director?
Yeah, we have the 81, 82, so they have a lot of
They did?
Yeah, and also like sometimes the shoot, John look at this, John says it's good, and the camera says it's good, and I believe them, and I say let's go. But sometimes we prepare, we try so hard, we prepare to be filming, and we do everything. So one on the set, you have to trust everybody to their instinct that they can do a good job, and then the part of it you feel like you just let God will be whatever happened, God will take care of it because there's so many things detail you want to be done. So now just like you know, you never know. Look like one of the actors should be get trouble, or the camera guy have to trouble.
Well, look what happened to you the night before. The lead actress drops,
Yeah.
or you know, one of the lead. I mean,
the whole process have to God take care of it, but you prepare and you do it. But
And nothing can prepare you for the problems you're going to have. There's
million things.
a million things happen along the way. It's a lot of problem solving, and that's all. You know, solve it the best way
Yeah,
you
even
can.
like we pay for the check and people didn't want it and have to pay them cash and take up the check, and then you know, we will take advantage from that. Like they steal the equipment.
genuinely, this happened.
Yeah.
They stole equipment.
Yeah, they stole the equipment. Like the end of the day, we film at Bob Airport, and then we film until like 6 o'clock in the morning. So everybody go home, get tired, and the guy who we bring the stuff to the return to the apartment we rent. First of all, we lost a lot of money. Like should be about like 20,000. So we come back and we fight with them. They say, "Oh, they want we return it." Oh, yeah. But some of them didn't return, and some of them at the apartment they say they didn't return. But finally, half of them we fight with them, and they agree with that we will return. And some of them they say no and have to pay for it. How much? Like
Well,
6,000.
some of the stuff was returned, and they found it on the loading dock at the company. So it was the rental company that said, "Oh, you didn't turn this back in," and so we literally sent our grip over there to the rental company, and he said, "Well, this is it right here on,
And
your,
there it
on
was.
your dock."
But some of them it really they stole.
They stole it, yeah.
Yeah.
And yet, despite all of the trials and tribulations and moments where you might have both been sitting there with your head in your hands, I don't know, here you are promoting your film, and the feeling I get is you loved making the film and you want to carry on doing it. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is, for all that pain and despair, you ended up with a film that obviously you love, and it hasn't put you off filmmaking. It can't do, because I assume you're making more films. So for all of that pain that you've got through, you still want to go on and do more.
Yeah, I still want to make a second movie, but that's I have the question, right, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the second movie, maybe a second sequel, maybe go a little bit like not next year, but another year. But the second movie that I planned at the more like drama, the immigration again, like we will try another movie I will make again. Like we try to make the end of summer 2018. Like maybe the end of 2018 or maybe 2019. We don't know yet.
So I mean, I know we've talked about this, but again, this is the benefit of the viewers. So the planning stage for that next film is all in hand now. I mean, that's actually moving forward. The
Yeah.
next film,
Yeah.
it is.
We make the second movie, but a different kind of this movie. Maybe this movie we make maybe another 2 more years, but the movie I plan will we make maybe the end 2018 or 2019.
Now, I know you're from Vietnam, and I know you go back there every year, but is it possible to explain if everything you thought about the US, what do you think of America? Tell me what your impression is of the US. It's very difficult to, I know, because you could probably talk about this for days, but
Yeah.
just the good and bad, the good and bad.
Yeah, the good and bad. Like first of all, we moved to America because we're looking for freedom and better life.
Yeah.
So we've been there, and we have the tough life because we don't speak English, we don't have any money, but it's okay. We say everybody can survive here, we can survive here. And we believe America is the promised land. If you work hard, you make your living. You have the rice, cup rice every day in your table. So that's why. And then we think like we work hard, we make it. So that's why we work hard and we make it. We make it with the few years from the beginning of our life. We make it our life to be stable. We make the income. It's good, but you know, it's in Vietnam. I live in small town. I never thinking about I will be in Hollywood. I never thinking about never thought that I will be in Beverly Hills and do all the lashes for the movie star and celebrities at all. But it's something like, it's just my brother came to California, moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he moved up there and he just had the beauty salon job, and then he make things, it just happened. And then in America, it happen if you have a good people around you, help you, and you working hard, you be
Yeah.
honesty,
Yeah.
and people just rather and help you. Like and then you do good job for them, and they return good for good. They try to help you back by introduce you like some makeup artists, stylists. They love your eyelashes. They introduce you with celebrity who they stylist for their hair, and so that's how we make to come to Beverly Hills and make big coming out. And that's why I meet the acting coach. That's why I go to every day come to Hollywood.
Jimmy, I really admire you, honestly, I do, because did you write a diary?
For me,
Have you written a diary?
the
You know, a diary from when you left Vietnam to where you are now. Did you write a diary?
A daily story.
A daily story.
I
You should have done.
shouldn't done yet,
should
but
have
I remember. I think like sometimes I remember, so that's why I don't know. It's just something is happened to you very strongly. You remember long lasting the regular thing that happened to you.
Yeah.
So that's why I remember. So I should write daily, but I can write a story from beginning. But most of my life, it may be funny story more than struggle.
Well, no, because what your story is a perfect example of truth being stranger than fiction. Because if you was to write this story, a lot of people wouldn't believe it. You know, and that's why it's such an interesting story. I think I can't remember who said it. I mean, it might be Oscar Wilde. I don't know. Look after your diary because one day it will look after you. Because people write fascinating stories, true stories about their lives, and yours is, like I said at the beginning of this interview. To me, yours seems to be the perfect example of this, in inverted commas, American dream, where somebody with no money and no opportunity and no connections, because often it's connections, open doors, and yet you've managed to do what millions of people would love to do, but don't get the opportunity, or they fail at the first level. I don't know. So it's kind of almost more interesting. This film is amazing. I really love it. But your struggle, to me, your story is absolutely fascinating. And I dare say, you, John, I mean, you kind of know where I'm going.
Yeah, I know where you're going. The opening scenes, many scenes in the movie were filmed in Vietnam, and those were realistic scenes they were filmed in Jimmy's village, his home village where he came from. So you kind of get an idea of where he's come from by watching the movie. He's actually come from that environment, and it's a wonderful environment. The people are wonderful, and it's a lovely environment. But it's a huge transition when you come to the United States, and they made that transition very over the period of time, very smoothly and successfully.
You need the drive. I'm sure you need so much drive. And again, a lot of people, frankly, won't have that drive. And actually, interestingly, filmmakers are driven people. You know, I've met all kinds of filmmakers and actors and actresses, and they could be very cool, very charming, which most of them are. They could be very headstrong, all walks of life, but one thing that binds them all together, they have a drive. Because if you don't have the drive, you're in the wrong business, because you know how tough it is to do it. So I'm not really that surprised, because I've known so many filmmakers and I know the steel that's required to make a film. So actually, I would imagine that if you're probably the kind of person that whatever you want to do, you're going to do it. You know, you won't give up, which is exactly what you need. So very well done.
Yeah. So sometimes it's not that's why that's why I'm consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency, like you do something, I do, and then I did. That's why one of my writer he write in the Facebook, he said, Jimmy, you never give it up. Like,
Well, you can't, can you? You can't.
Oh, it's so weird. Maybe I'm stubborn.
No.
Perseverance.
Perseverance. I haven't got the drive to do it, to be honest with you, because I know I'm not strong enough to do something like that. And filmmaking, whatever you do in filmmaking, whether it's acting, directing, editing, even if it's just one role, it's tough. But to take on really well done. That's it, guys. Well done. Thank you very, very, very much. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you, Steve.
No, honestly, it's wonderful.